Well, good morning everyone, and first display of the day, our parade of preserved motoring. Preserved motoring, well, it's the motor cars that you would have seen on the roads pretty well any time at any place throughout the history of motoring, because we're very fortunate because you've got such a wonderful cross-section of just about every car design and concept you possibly have seen here in the UK at any stage. Everything from makes that you may be quite familiar with to vehicles that are a little bit different when viewed from the light of today's standpoint. And just along that front line, represented there, the manufacturers' names that have been very much part of the history here of car production in the UK and have been now forgotten and out of production. And going past us too, not that we
Thank you. we're looking at now is the orange track, which is that fast track. The actual basically designed this one with Morris, and he designed that for the initially the pre-war and in stock. It became a track on the road right, and it was quite successful in the track. And we have another one here, and we managed to go on all tracks. And this one's pre-war. Practice the half production was in Oxford, unfortunately, they were working on the last time. So we take the plans and our people go to the plans. This on the British motorcycle. Hardly surprising. the world is motorbikes. only one dedicated model left seen anywhere in the world on racing here. On racing capabilities anyway. And that's in preservation here in this country. So we've got some of that history back here again in the UK. Somewhere along the line, the use of roller. And then finally, we get the Russian sponsor. Steamrollers didn't have to be greatly heavy, going in 10 tons and 4 some of them. Because as road surfaces change, the tarmac tends to be used, and like the roller was needed to be rollers, and actually worth putting in crushed stone road bases. And before that, they were putting in road bases and road surfaces on crushed stone. It was great in stone. The time of stone still not unfilled. All this change in tarmac. Tarmac is a different process of rolling. We might be able to see some examples of bathing stuff. I don't think it was so low law since last year. I just had a big overall with the that name forever. Change the name for 1880. That's the name of the
backbone. There's more than one stick screen out there. There's all sorts of noises. That's it. Go on, noise. About the steam engines out here in the arena. And look at that, we've actually got 2 windscreens in it this year. Full set of windows. Well, last time this one joined us, it was still in restoration, hadn't quite finished. Well, it's fully restored now, beautifully restored as you see. There's 1 scammel and 2 scammels, the second one coming on. And we've got here, there's a couple of links in between the two, but we've got the beginning of the new look scammel with the green one there that's making its way around the centre of the arena. After the bonneted scammels that were in service in the early 1960s, they went on from pretty well a pre-war design. Well, this was the new look scammel, which came out before the Italian fiberglass cab was adopted by the scammels. And then that was right on the end. The last scammel that was produced for the civilian market was the Crusader. And there we have an example there, the cream vehicle with the red underworks, making its way around the centre now, the Arctic tractor. That was the last of the British scammels, built for the civilian market of scammel design. Any that came after that with the scammel badge on were very, very much Leyland design. Well, while Leyland's own scammels were for a greater part of the post-war period, they didn't actually control everything they did, and they had their own design department. But there's a success story that ended very quickly with the scammel, and a success story that has gone on until the demise of the Defender with the Land Rover. Now going across the front of it. And this is very, very typical of the type of vehicle of the period, general purpose tipping vehicle. AECs that produce their own engines, they produce all the London buses, they're producing their own engines right up to 11 plus litres. They were doing very well indeed. They were also part of Leyland. And as part of Leyland, they went on from success to success, but finally disappeared. Now coming past the commentary point now, little tiny black drop side truck, little black truck there with the red wheels. Now these actually, but with the accelerator was in the centre. You had brake, throttle and clutch instead of ABC across the floor. Fords had gone back to the old pre-war design that Morris's had scrapped in 1932, and for some reason Ford's brought it back in the late 1930s on the E83W, which was that little pickup truck. And this came out then with 18-inch wheels, went on post-war with 17 and then down to 16-inch wheels finally. A little 10 horsepower, half-ton, 1000 weight carrying capacity truck. Fixed side bodies when the woodens were drop side. So that was the little E83W Ford. Another example now of the Ford, of the AEC rather. This is the longer wheelbase four-wheeler, which is coming past the commentary point now. And you can see a beautiful example of what was essentially an everyday long-range truck here before the onset of the motorways. And the AEC Mercury from 1961. Don't forget, we didn't get motorways in this country till 1959. So this is before our motorway network was really established. And way back before that, pre-war design, but a design that was carried right through the 50s. This is an earlier one, a pre-war model. And this is the AEC just going past us now. And if you look at this, the age is given away by this particular vehicle. On the outside of the cab, on the near side, going round by the fence, there's a black lump in front of the door. Looks like a tank with a couple of tubes sticking out of it. That's the auto vac coming across the commentary point now. What a wonderful vehicle these were. There was quite a number of our heavy transport vehicles at that time were 8-wheel configuration. And there's the AEC Mammoth Major there. And once again, a design which ran through. This is a later version than the 4-wheel, the Marshall, which is just coming into the lineup now. Now the AEC, this is the 6-wheeler. It's great, we've got the current design again. We're looking at the same period, early 1950s. And this is the fuel tanker here, the 6-wheeler. All probably running on the 7-litre AEC engine. Not to be forgotten, of course, was the value that AEC put into the war effort. And coming up towards us now, tractor, and virtually all of them were supplied as gun tractors, although after the war, some were supplied to the civilian market. And some of you may remember, perhaps the later ones that you might remember on the roads across the south of England were all painted white, and they were operated by Circus Hoffman. And they had a fleet of 8 of these AEC Matadors. And the advantage with an AEC Matador was it was 4-wheel drive and had a wonderful winching capacity. There's a great big winch hidden away underneath the bodywork. Now here's some little bits of motoring history for us going past the commentary point at the moment. And that's this ERF, and that stands for Edwin Foden. Edwin was a member of the Foden family who successfully made steam engines, and they decided that they were going to keep on making steam engines, and Edwin said, no, we ought to be making diesel lorries, and they said, not on your Nelly, we're going to make steam engines. So Edwin went up the road and opened his own factory making diesel lorries, hence ERF. ERF stayed, and they were finally sold out to the German MAN, but that was long post-war. ERF was a very successful commercial vehicle producer who started producing in the 1930s. And this particular unit is drawing a Tasker's trailer. Tasker's very, very successful. Family of blacksmiths, Taskers, and they set up a forge at Abbott's near Andover, and they finally turned out to be producers of just about everything that was available in metal. There's a fine exhibit celebrating Taskers in the Hampshire Museum at Basingstoke, and you'll see the whole Tasker history, but there's one of Tasker's low-loading trailers. It was the Tasker trailers that Taskers were really famous for. They built the Queen Mary trailers for recovering aircraft during the Second World War, and Taskers went on as trailer builders through the post-war period, followed by, once again, the success story of